After 2 years of conflict, the Russian economy has not collapsed as expected. In fact, it has managed to grow even more than many other countries. Shortly after the start of the conflict in Ukraine, the International Monetary Fund had predicted that Russia's gross domestic product would be reduced by the 1st of October by 2023. The latest forecasts, on the other hand, indicate growth of as much as 2.2%. The country's economy as a whole has been quite resilient in recent years. Western sanctions do not seem to have had the desired effect so far. There are even those who claim that the latter have brought the Eurozone to life. Germany, for example, is close to recession, a country that over the years has managed to establish itself as Europe's leading economy thanks to low-cost Russian gas, but today it is the protagonist of an abrupt setback. Several economists see in the recent difficulties in the country the effects of a painful detachment from the Russian Federation. Tieric line, sanctions should have been a very powerful and very effective tool on a practical level. Their effectiveness, however, is a separate issue debated among economists and experts in international politics. In this video, we will try to take stock of the situation. How did Russia even manage to grow in 2023? How does it really put its economy under Western sanctions? They are losing their effectiveness and credibility. How should Europe behave? Russia has faced a series of sanctions from Washington and Brussels. We can say unprecedented since the country launched its attack on Ukraine. On February 24, major Western countries have tried to build a wall and unite. In Europe and the United States, a series of sanctions have been designed to drain the coffers of the Russian Federation. This is a way to hinder the financing of his war. Others after the death in custody of Russian opposition leader Anna Navalny. Yet, after 2 years, the Russian economy seems to have recovered. Its factories are abuzz, oil and gas sales are solid, and labor has readjusted to a war economy. Vladimir Putin, meanwhile, seems firmly in command of the Kremlin, despite mounting economic pressure. But how is this possible? Even international sanctions have failed to put the country out of business, as we were hinting at. The effectiveness of sanctions has often been questioned by economists and experts in international politics. Over the years, the West has in fact abused it, especially the United States. And although compared to the past, the sanctions are more targeted. It is very difficult for those who impose them to monitor their effective implementation. For example, if you impose a ban on the export of a particular type of chip to Russia, you must also be able to ensure all the necessary customs controls. Not all countries have the resources, the political will to do so. We can therefore answer the question from earlier. Political will and technical skill. Legal, financial, and even military resources are needed to enforce sanctions. Countries that pursue this type of instrument often do not have the same rules, the same objectives and the same finances. Politics further complicates the equation. It is difficult for one government to pressure another to stop buying products. Russia has managed to circumvent the sanctions, then mainly thanks to the support of various allies, in trade relations. It was also instrumental in replacing goods, Western goods that had withdrawn from the market later. For example, at the beginning of the invasion, Chinese-made cars made up only 10% of the Russian market. It is still dominated by the big European brands. Today, Chinese cars are more than 55% of the total. Another rather striking case concerns the oil trade. In 2022, about 60% of the power from Western Russia had been transported to European oil tankers. At the end of the year, the G7 countries imposed a price cap, effectively banning their carriers from shipping Russian oil unless it was sold below $60 a barrel. As you can guess, a parallel system has grown that manages to transport this oil at an even higher price. To conclude, the application of sanctions to a country that turns out to be a fundamental resource for its economy, both for what is exported to that country and for what is imported, was not a winning move.